Cypher is by far one of the easiest and fun agents to play. He's very versatile with his kit, including cages, wires, camera, and his ultimate, which basically gives you wall hacks. This video I'll be going over different setups that you can use across different sites and different maps in Valorant as Cypher, ranging from very entry level and basic to becoming what more higher up and high elo players would do and what pros would do. Now we'll rank this on how easy they are to shoot from choke points and then how the enemy actually engages with them. Now we will skip over the idea that all of my wires and every wire can be killed with shock darts and everything like that. Let's be real, there will never be a perfect wire. You know, shit happens. They will learn it, the clone might break it, might get shot randomly by gunfire, or it could just be too predictable. Remember, always change your wires around, but have the same effect to get kills and get information. In this video, we'll go over wire and camera spots for maps like Abyss, Ascent, Bind, and Breeze for the first part. Next video, we'll do all the other maps, and maybe we'll do a 3-part series where, you know, 2 more videos after this. If you guys have any special wires or anything, or you think I should include some wires, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So to start off with wires, we'll just do this basic 2 across here. Danger one we'll use throughout, just different widths, because that's the only wire that can hold it. But the one currently here at main is pretty basic, you know, people can still jump over it. For an intermediate one, you know, we'll just do one right across here when that wire is for if the enemies are actually committing to side and they're pushing on. Again, we'll use the danger one, however slightly across. For advanced, we'll use one that goes diagonal. That way, you know, you can hold a crossfire or a lineup. Here. You can shoot from behind the boxes from that one, and you can hold from backside. Here. And that is also a common spot for wingman. Camera placements, basic one is just up here. You know, enemies can shoot that the minute they see it. A more advanced one, which is a little bit higher up and a little bit harder to get. There we go, this one up here, sees into window and sees main. A more advanced one, but is still somewhat kind of basic, is just one on this back wall here. It's a safe one, you can still hear enemies coming up, you can see all of sight, you can see post plant if they don't shoot it. And this one over here, even though it's the same one, just has a more emphasis on danger and backside. Alright, so getting into it. Basic wire, you know, this one right here. Super simple, enemies can still shoot it when they're trying to push in, or even if they haven't pushed on yet, they can still probably get it through the smoke. And this one just here, lying low to the ground, good for stopping wingman. A more advanced one for an entry choke point is this one here, a little bit further out, and then just this one that goes across like that here, helps you hold backside. More advanced one is a little bit closer, and then this one here, while it's very similar to the intermediate one, however it's a little bit more of a tighter setup. You can still wallbang from heaven or shoot from heaven, you know, if you're smoked off, and that one stops wingman when he typically plants in front of the 2 little cylinder boxes there. Moving on to camera placements, a very basic one is just along here on the back wall, you know, while I can still see in, get shot down pretty easily. A more intermediate one is just up here, gets shot quite a bit, you can't really see people hiding in the corner down there, but it's still overall a pretty decent one. My personal favourite that I like to use on this map, so it sees it slightly into main, it can see the little cubby if it's not shot down, just can't see backside, but that's alright. You know, can see a fair amount, it's very good. Alright, now on to Ascent, one of the most well-known maps in Valorant. First basic wires are just in the main choke point here, just 2 that go across, can still be shot and triggered without the enemy actually pushing. Intermediate wire is you can do one that goes across the concrete pillar like that, and then a diagonal one like so. Or alternatively, you can do a little X. These 2 can still be shot from main and trigger without the enemy actually pushing. However, the more advanced ones is you want to do the same one across and then one that goes across like that. That can easily stop any pushes for enemies who are actually getting on, you know, a jet trying to dash in. Camera placements is just this one up here. Come on. Is up here in the corner, can see a little bit into the entry and the actual choke point of being main. An intermediate one is just up here on the beam, sees lane and side, however does not see boathouse, which is the only issue. You can still hear main. And this one is a more advanced one, you can see the feet of anyone in A main, you can see, or B main, sorry, you can see boat, house, or switch. Very basic, can still be killed with a single shot dart from Cypher and still shot at. This is a more intermediate one, a low lying one to stop a wingman and protect switch. A more advanced one goes across both sides where enemies actually have to walk into it to trigger it, and that one just stops and protects switch a little bit more. Basic camera, can see easily into main. More intermediate one is just on top of the archway up here. Sees a little bit into the main and a little bit into tree, however sees predominantly most of sight. And then my personal favorite one, which is up here, just make sure it's before the grey pipe on the left side, because that way you can still see into main a little bit and you can see deep into tree, see if anyone's pushing that. It's a great hold if you're holding backside or from heaven. No one can actually get the jump on you. So bind, my favorite map, let's get into it. Basic Y setup is you just want to do one across here and then one that goes over the barrel. Super easy to break, but you know, newer players might not know the barrel one's probably a little bit more of an advanced one. The next one, for an intermediate one, what you want to do is you want to put one across there, try and get it on the wooden beam, that's the highest angle you can get. And then the next one just on the corner here, it's still easily shootable, however this one is a little bit tricky. People can still jump over it via the box if they slow walk up. Yeah, you know, you can play from lamps and be able to shoot people. This one is the more advanced version of the intermediate one. It's a lot harder to shoot. People actually have to push you. While they can jump over the box, it's probably unlikely to, and then you can just put it against the steps. You know, play from lamps, shoot people. Ideally you'd have a cage in front of you. You can swap between the intermediate one and the advanced one. Cameras now, let's move on. Basic one, this one just goes up here, sees into short, you can hear footsteps, great for early information, however is commonly seen and gets shot down a lot. More of an intermediate one is just up here. Blends in with the surrounding environment, you know, you can see into main and see into bath. However, my personal favorite, the one that I commonly use, is this one up here. At the start of the round, I'd run up to heaven, jump up and throw the camera. It can see all the way into bath, it can see all the way into main. It's a great camera. Basic wise for B site, I know everyone says, oh, the Spider-Man one is very unique. However, there's a lot of ways you can jump around it and jump through it. I feel like it's only great for aggro jets who dash on. More of an intermediate one is this low-lying one on the ground at that height, and then one that just goes across like that, stops people from jumping out from hookah and trying to get onto the side. A more advanced one is it goes across like that. That is good because it somewhat stops Skydog, however it still catches people. You can put one across like that, stops people from going onto garden straight onto side, and I like to pair it with this one, a longer version of the intermediate one. You know, it's really useful, really effective. It does get triggered by Yoru clones, however it's a great way to save yourself and for anyone who's trying to push up close. Cameras, this one's pretty basic, gets shot down a lot, you can see long. Intermediate one is this one up here. It's great for seeing the choke points and early information, however you can't see sight, which is the only negative downfall. A common one is up here, you know, season to long and sight, however that one is very overused, a lot of people expect it. And then a more of an advanced one that I like to do is either you can do it up here, sees a little bit into long, all of sight, you know, even a little bit of elbow too, or just on this wall over here, whatever one you fancy. You can't see as much as the first one, however you see a little bit more deeper into elbow, and it's just hidden from garden. So our final video, or our final map breeze, basic wise is you just want to put one in the entry choke point and then one directly across the doors. Very basic, you know, enemies can still shoot at it when the map or when the walls drop. They can see it pretty much placed. Intermediate one is one that goes across. Main choke and one up here. These ones are when the enemy is kind of more pushing on, so it's a confirmed attack. Little harder for the team to rotate. An advanced one goes across like this, and then just across like that. That stops people from pushing past and going over to bench. it can get triggered by a skydog, but also too, jet dashing and everything like that, it's really long. Thank you for those Cypher buffs years ago. And then two, they go across like here in case if you are holding the left cubby of sight. You can peek out and get 2 kills straight away, stops them from getting safe. So moving on to cameras now. So basic camera just up in here. You can see a little bit of door, and you can see the first initial push from a main if they do come. However, is most likely to get shot before they come out. Up here, it's intermediate one, sees more side, a little bit more conservative. However, this one is the more advanced one, very hidden, very high up, blends in with the boxes, sees both door and a main. It's really good if you're playing backside. Moving on to B site now, basic wire in the choke point right here, and then going across the stairs can easily be killed with a shock dart or a skydog, nothing too crazy. The second one, or second intermediate ones, is just one that goes across from the stair, and then the other one that just attaches onto the pole like so. You know, this is good for playing back here. However, it is susceptible to jet just jumping over and killing you. One for tunnel, which not a lot of people know about, is one in there, in case if enemies trying to rush on. Advanced one is to go off the pillar, that way it gets more of the side any wingman's trying to jump on. And that was the intermediate wire that I was talking about, you know, very easy to do, very basic. Cameras now, onto basic cameras. One up here in this corner, sees both tunnel and main, however can get shot pretty easily. There's a weird one up here, we go, on the tree leaves, which sees side but doesn't see into tunnel, which is the only disadvantage. And then one that's up here, which sees more side, more of enemies actually pushing in, sees all the elbow, all the side back wall, and a little bit into tunnel